All right, so in this example, we're given an isosceles triangle, and we know that these two sides are congruent, which means that these two things down here are the base angles. And remember, in an isosceles triangle, the base angles are congruent. So that means that we're going to take those two things and we're going to set them equal to each other to find my x. Okay, so solve for x, or subtract the 5x from both sides, which gives me 9 equals positive 3x minus 30. We'll add 3 to both sides. So you get 39 is equal to 3x. And divide by 3, and you get that x is equal to 13. Okay, that would be our first example. The second example, same idea, same concept. Okay, they tell me though this time that I have two angles that are congruent. And according to the converse of isosceles triangles theorem, if I have two angles that are congruent in a triangle, that means the sides that are adjacent to those are congruent to each other, which means that those two measures are equal to each other. So we're going to solve for x, so subtract 3x from both sides. So 6x minus 73 equals 23. We're going to add 73 to both sides. So we get 6x is equal to 96. Divide both sides by 6. You get that x is equal to 16. Okay. So again, that's because of the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem. All right. In the next couple examples, they don't actually give us the picture. We're going to have to draw it out. So they tell us we have a triangle of R, S, and T. And they tell me that RT is congruent to ST. And they tell me to measure the three angles. But because of that, that means that angle R and angle S are congruent to each other. So that means that I can take the measure of angle R, which is 9x plus 2, and I can set it equal to the measure of angle S, which is 13x minus 18 by the isosceles triangle theorem. So we're going to solve for x. I'm going to squeeze it in here as best as I can. So you get 20 is equal to 4x. So x is equal to 5. So we know x. X is 5. Okay? And then to find the measure of each one of those, you're going to take this and you're going to substitute in for the x here, and the x over here. And that's how you get all three of those. So 9 times 5 is 45, plus 2 would give me a 47-degree angle. 13 times 5, 15, 65. And then 65 minus 18 would give me 47. So that's also 47. You also know that because they should be congruent. And then the last one for angle T, 17 times 5 gives you 85. And you're going to add the 1, which gives you 86 degrees. And when you add all three of those together, you should get 180. And we do. Okay. Same thing for the next one. Okay. They tell me I have a triangle DEF. And they tell me that angle D is congruent to angle E, which means that side DF would be congruent to side FE. So we can go ahead and set those equal to each other. So 4x minus 8 equals 7x minus 35. Same idea. So we're going to solve for x, subtract 4x, subtract 4x. So negative 8 is equal to 3x minus 35. Add 35 to both sides. So you get 27 is equal to 3x. So when you divide by 3, x is equal to 9. Okay, and again, same idea. We're going to substitute this into x for here, here, and here. So the first one is 9 plus 4. So that means that DE is 13 degrees, or 13 units. It's not degrees in this case. EF would be 4 times 9, which gives me 36, but then we're going to subtract 8 from it. So that's going to be 28. And then DF would be 7 times 9. This time we're going to subtract 35 from it, which also gives me 28. And that should be the same because we said that they are congruent. All right. The last two examples, okay? Because I know that this is 60 and this is 60, that means this is also 60, which means this is an equilateral triangle. So we know that that's 60 degrees, okay? And because it's equilateral, it means all three sides are congruent. So that means that this is 9 feet, this is 9 feet, and I'm done. All right. And in the last example, they're telling me that this is an equilateral triangle. So that means all three sides are congruent, which means I can figure out any of the sides and I can just set them equal to each other. So 14y minus 59 equals 9y plus 1. So we'll go ahead and solve for y first. Add that 59 over, add that over. So you get 5y is equal to 60. So when you divide by 5, you get that y is equal to 12. Okay. Now for the x portion, x is an angle. And since the triangle is equilateral, that means it's also equiangular, which means all three angles add up to 60 degrees. So essentially, you're going to make 7x minus 3 equals 60. You're going to add 3 over, add 3 over. So 7x is equal to 63. Divide by 7, divide by 7. And you get that x is equal to 9. So you got y here is 12, x is 9, and you are done.